Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about this week's TV news. This is a weekly news video. So on top of the news, we also give some updates on the channel if there's any to give, and also pick our favourite show at the end of the video and that kind of thing. So that's what we're going to do. This is probably the busiest news week we've had in a little while.
Oh, okay.
So
There's actual news?
It's not the busiest news week we've ever had, but it's definitely the busiest we've had in a good month or two.
Okay then.
Because things quieting down for a little while. We're, quick videos on a weekly basis. In terms of anything new that sort of happened this week, obviously Doctor Who came back. The first review of that's up just earlier today. We did Girl Boss episode 1, which is a new Netflix show, so you can check out that. Fargo season 3 started. Episode 1 review of that is up. The Expanse had its season 2 finale. We did that this week. Busy week. Lots of things.
It was, yeah.
Lots of things were happening, but so all that stuff's kicking about. So without further ado, let's get into the actual news. So we have some trailers to talk about first. First up, I didn't actually realise this was a leak. This first one.
Do you know what? Nor did a lot of the news sites.
Yes, because people were talking about it. It was like, oh, official, the first official look at this, and it was Krypton, the sci-fi channel show that we're getting set on Krypton, obviously from Superman, but set years and years before. It's his grandfather, so not Jor-El. Jor-El's father is the lead character. So we're set on Krypton. It appears to be in the Man of Steel universe, and if it's not, they at least took a lot of visual cues from it.
I know, at least in its inception, it was designed to be in the Man of Steel universe.
I don't know if it still is. Like, it's still got the same sort of logo and stuff, and it feels like it's kind of the same Krypton, but at the same time, I don't know. They might want it to be standalone, just for...
Yeah, they murked it after they spun Man of Steel into the extended universe that it now is, instead of just what it was at the time when this first went into production.
So I think it's in this weird middle ground now. Maybe they'll come out and clarify it later, but at the moment, I don't think it's actually technically in continuity. But then again, maybe it doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter, does it? Yeah.
I mean, it depends what it does. Maybe if they end up saying X thing about the universe and then the movies contradict
We should
it.
point out, I never got to see this trailer.
No, because it turned out it was a leak, and they took it down from everywhere. So, luckily, I did get to see it before it went into the night, and is kind of my overall thought. I will say this: the visual effects look quite good. It looked pretty high production value wise in that sense, so that looked good. But the main actor they've got playing whoever else, I don't know what his grandfather's name is off the top of my head. He looks like he belongs in a freeform show.
Oh, okay.
It's very kind of like, oh, he's like 21, sort of generic white dude, kind of.
I thought he might be a little bit older than that.
Nah. And for some reason in the trailer, he's narrating to Superman. He's like, Kal-El, one day you will help your world, but before that, I had to help mine. You don't even have a son
maybe there's some
yet.
time travel shenanigans.
Maybe. I don't know. Like, maybe that's going to bookend the show. We'll get a scene of Cavill in the fort. Well, he's not got a fortress, so what the hell am I talking about? But well, yeah, okay. If I've got this show's Superman in his fortress, and he puts in the crystals, like, tell me about Krypton's past, and then it'll bookend. And if let's say if the shows somehow lasts like 5 seasons or something, in 5 years we'll get the final episode. It'll come back to the fortress. And it's like, oh, that was an interesting story. It'll basically be the Superman equivalent to How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the way they play it is in his fortress. There was one for his a crystal that had the essence of his grandfather, as well as Jor-El and whoever else is in this world.
Yeah. As far as the plot though, it feels like it's just, I don't know, it's going to be like political intrigue and like shadow games, and I just
see. I like the sound of that because the Krypton stuff was my favorite part of Man of Steel. Barring like a couple of other moments, as a general chunk of the film, I really enjoyed Krypton. I like the idea of the political factions that were there.
Here's my thing though. This feels like to me. It feels like the Star Wars prequels. It feels like this was never this thought out. This was never thought to this extent. It was just, this is the backstory of Krypton. We don't really know how we got to the end result. We just know that the end result was Jor-El was trying to convince them the planet's going to be destroyed, we need to evacuate, and then like they were like, nah, shut up, Jor-El, that's silly. We're not going anywhere. Sure. And Zod came in and he did all these little things. Like, but the actual backstory was never a thought out thing. I don't think so anyway. Maybe I'm sure there's been a comic book miniseries at some point they explored it. Sure, I have no doubt. So you can correct me with that if you want. But it's never been a super thought out thing. And I feel like this is going to be a show that's going to try and justify its own existence.
Perhaps.
And I don't know if it ever will.
I mean, it can justify its own existence by just being good.
It could be. Like, sure, you can take something from nothing and make it into a story. Fine.
I mean, you could argue even something like Better Call Saul, does it need to exist?
Oh, no, it doesn't. And this is the thing, though. Good. But that's Vince Gilligan.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying...
That's a show where someone looked at what they had, they wanted to do a story and thought, I can make a journey out of this. There's a story of him becoming this character. We can do something there. And they treated it with respect, and it's working out quite well. But on the other hand, this just makes me think of... and the reason why I compare it to Star Wars specifically is because it makes me think of, the time the Jedi were all around, and there were an actual council, and there was an actual Jedi school, and everything was actually operational. And to me, Superman and Krypton, kind of like the Jedi in Star Wars, that was the backstory, and it's almost more... Like, part of what makes it interesting is that it doesn't exist anymore. It's like a myth almost of this time gone by.
Yeah, I guess. Again, this doesn't bother me at its core level. It's just down to the quality for me.
Well, it doesn't look very good.
Well, yeah, I've seen that, so I can't speak to that personally. And
the acting feels
I'll
off,
take your word on it.
And I feel like it's just going to... I don't know. It feels off. I don't... The entire direction of the plot... I mean, if it turns out to be good, then great. But honestly, political intrigue on Krypton is not something I would greenlight. If I was the executive, there'd be no way I'd be greenlighting that.
See, that to me is interesting. If it's good, that is interesting as a core idea for me.
But here's the problem, though. You know for a fact they're going to try and sell this on, here's a Superman image thing, here's a thing that's related to Superman. Yeah. They're just going to do that. They're not going to treat it as its own thing. You know they're not.
And my hope would be that that's what they do. Maybe they just do that for the first episode, get out of the system. You know, go, right, look, we'll do all this for the marketing and the advertiser. Mm-hmm. You know, here you go, look, it's Superman related, you get it. And then we move on from there and it does its own thing. That would be best case scenario, I think.
I'll be honest, I just don't think I'm that interested in what Krypton was like before. Like, for me, it's part of the backstory, and that's it. I don't need...
I like seeing backstory, what can I say?
I don't need life in Krypton then. I don't need life in Gotham City. Like,
yeah,
for all these years before Batman. And that's not to say that couldn't be good. The idea of a young Gordon show actually sounds fine, but Gotham is terrible.
It wasn't good.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
And by this point, they've used every single goddamn Batman villain known to man. So
pretty much,
what the hell's even left for Batman to fight when he's ready to be Batman? I don't know. Which I can see them not doing as much of that because it's on Krypton, but like, I'm sure there'll be a version of Brainiac.
Yeah, I'd expect a Brainiac, and that can kind of work still, because of what Brainiac
it can.
is.
It can. Work. But
I could also see them doing a variation on Doomsday.
I could see that. I could see them doing a variation. Anything that wasn't like human, like Earth-based, like came from a human, I can see them doing a variation of.
Potentially.
Like I could see them somehow ending up with a parasite. I could see them ending up with anything you could write off. Oh, it's just an alien.
Yeah.
Not that Parasite was an alien. He was necessarily, but I'm saying in this show they could write it off that way.
They could, yeah.
He's always just a species of alien.
I agree. That is the easy trap for them to fall into, and I hope they don't. I don't have that much faith in it, admittedly, but I'd hope not.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it. I did not feel... The visual effects look good, but everything else about the trailer I didn't like. So, obviously we're going to cover it when it hit. We'll do the first episode when it hits, but yeah. I am not feeling hopeful for it, which is a shame. But hey, and also the name David Goyer is attached to it, which is more than enough to put someone off.
That is fair. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that.
He's responsible for a lot of bad things. Speaking of trailers for comic book related properties, we got a trailer this week for Cloak and Dagger, which is the Marvel show that's coming to Freeform about the two teen heroes who sort of meet up, and they're a couple. Cloak has shadow-like powers; he can do things, and then Dagger makes daggers of light, and they're like yin and yang because one's black and one's white, and I mean, and racially the one's black and one's white, but I mean just in terms of the powers and their costumes, one's black and one's white. And that's kind of thing. But so we got a trailer for that, and it's Freeform, so there's a certain standard you perhaps expect for Freeform. Not necessarily a good standard, and it was kind of what I suppose you'd expect. It didn't look bad. It didn't look good necessarily, but it didn't look bad either. There was nothing about it that was like, oh, this is like, it seemed fine. The casting seems fine. I think right now the biggest worry I'd have from it is that it looks like it's going to avoid the actual superhero parts as much as it possibly can.
It's really going to be a teen thing, isn't it?
Yeah, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but right now, because we've just done Iron Fist recently, all I'm seeing from this, or what my worst case scenario is the tween version of Iron Fist, where instead of it being a company, instead of it being that kind of boring
it'll
story,
just be a school.
Yeah, it'll be a school instead.
Yeah. Like I said, this trailer did nothing for me. I was just like, okay, it exists. That's nice to know that it actually does exist now.
Yeah. It didn't do anything bad either, though.
It didn't do anything bad, but it didn't do anything that was like, oh, that looks good at any point.
Nah, because the only thing you see of any like powers, you see that like Dagger hold one dagger of light in her hand.
Yeah.
And then there's like a one kind of cool shot at the end of Cloak sort of on a roof with he's got like a blanket around him that's like flowing in the wind. And it's...
Tell you what I did like. I like the logo.
Stunning endorsement.
Well, no, I like that when it transitioned into the logo and you had the dagger go into the A and you had him go into whatever letter he was in, and it worked for me.
Cool. It's a good logo.
There.
Again, obviously we're going to try it when it hits. 2018.
We've got a while yet, though.
It's going to be a while. Early 2018 is what they're expecting. But
which it actually makes this trailer feel really early.
But that's not even the earliest one, though. There's other trailers from Freeform this week that are coming even later than this one is. So this is apparently just normal for them now.
Apparently.
But yeah, more on that later. That's not next. But we do have another trailer, but it's related to more of an actual news story. So it's been saved. It's been saved for the main event. It's coming last. Yeah. We're building to it. Because it's a big deal. All I'm saying is, it's not Aquaman.
Yeah, I think that's enough for any long-time listeners to perhaps know what you're getting at.
So, on to some other news. Sticking with Marvel, actually, and sticking with Freeform, because we got an announcement recently that Marvel's doing a New Warriors show on Freeform. It's going to be their first comedy, with Squirrel Girl being the main star, but it's an ensemble. This week we got a new description that maybe fleshes out the description a little bit, but we got all the characters and their actors attached to them. So, first up, here's a list of the actors that have been cast. Craig Hollis is going to play Mr. Immortal, Dwayne Taylor is going to play Night Thrasher, Robbie Baldwin's going to play Speedball, Zach Smith's going to play Microbe, and of course we have Squirrel Girl, who's going to be played by Doreen Green. So that's your cast. There's descriptions for all the characters, which I'm going to tell you in a minute, but I'm going to tell you the new description for the show as well, just to flesh that out. So there's a lot of explaining things here. But Marvel's first comedy series about 6 young people with powers living and working together, not quite super, not yet heroes, and with powers and abilities on the opposite end of the spectrum of the Avengers. The New Warriors want to make a difference in the world, even if the world isn't ready. The series is about the entry into adulthood when you feel like you can do everything and nothing at once. Except this world, bad guys can be as terrifying as bad dates. So you got that in the description. So I'm going to give you some. So Squirrel Girl. We have.
Oh, here we go. Buckle in, folks.
Yeah, buckle in. We'll get 6 of these, I think. So Squirrel Girl has the powers of a squirrel, and the powers of a girl.
All right, let's move on.
Which is she's aerobatic, strong, can fight, and can talk to squirrels. Yeah. So that's Squirrel Girl. She's aptly named. Doreen is totally empowered fangirl. She's a natural leader, confident and tough but not innocent. Doreen is bouncy and energetic, and her greatest quality is her optimism. She has faith in others and inspires people to believe in themselves. She also takes her pet squirrel tippy-toe everywhere.
As you do.
As you do. So that's Squirrel Girl. AKA the one that I have heard of in this list.
I've heard of one other.
Oh, you have? Oh, that's just
in passing.
Okay, next up, Mr. Immortal. Superpowers, cannot die, ever, maybe, so he says. They're quite witty. You can see the humours in the descriptions here. So, yeah, Team Troublemaker in Lothario. Craig, which is his actual name, is kind of the most interesting man alive, except he's more cocky than confident at times, charmingly grumpy. Although Craig's superpower seems amazing, he hasn't made use of it at all. He's lazy and figures if he has all the time in the world to learn how to fight, what's the rush?
I like this guy.
Next up we have Night Thrasher, real name Dwayne Taylor. Superpower, none. Alright. You're useful then. Dwayne is a local celebrity hero with his very own YouTube channel. Oh man. Brilliant, strong, noble, and maybe a bit full of himself, Dwayne is a shameless self-promoter and an entrepreneur, but he also deeply believes in justice, at least his version of it. Dwayne hides the fact that he comes from a really rich family because he's afraid he'll lose his street cred.
What is this show?
So that's another kind of cocky guy. Speedball, real name Robbie.
This is the one I've heard of.
Oh, have you? Robbie Baldwin is his real name. Superpower, can launch kinetic balls of energy. Oh, so it's actual balls of speed that he fires at people, not not super speed. I assumed it was super speed when I glanced at this early. Robbie grew up watching Quinjets take off from Avengers Tower, and he loves the idea of being a hero. He's an impulsive and immature people pleaser with a misplaced sense of confidence. Although you would think throwing kinetic balls of energy would be awesome and effective, his are completely out of control.
I was under the impression, at least originally, that this was set in the MCU.
I think it is.
But he grew up watching Quinjets from Avengers Tower.
Set in the future?
Could be. I mean, that just really set off. I was like, hang on.
Maybe it's not. I thought it was, but maybe it's not.
Yeah, I was under the impression it was, at least last time we heard about it.
Maybe it is in the future, though, and it's like, all this superhero stuff's happened. These are these new misfits that are going to try and do stuff. Next up, Microbe, real name Zach Smith. Superpower, can talk to germs.
Oh, aye. That's I think that might be less useful than talking to squirrels.
I don't know, you could get them to attack someone's immune system or something.
Alright, I'll see you in 3 weeks when you're ill.
Zach is a shy hypochondriac. He can talk to them, he can control them. Why is he a hypochondriac?
He clearly has an antagonistic relationship.
Zach is a shy hypochondriac whose ability nearly makes him a telepath. Interesting. The germs will tell him where you've been, what you ate, and who you hung out with. Alright, so it's like a sort of almost Sherlock-esque detective thing you can do with the germs, where they'll tell him all this stuff. It's impossible to keep secrets around him. He's a big sweet guy the team takes under their wing, and they help him find and grow his own confidence. And finally, we have Debris, real name Deborah Fields. I like that Deborah is Debris. I think that's kind of funny.
She got a bit lazy.
Superpower, low level, telekinetic, and trickster. Low level, so she can do like small objects?
I guess so.
Deborah is a proud, funny, and quick-witted, confidently outed as a lesbian, or out as a lesbian, sorry. Outed as a lesbian.
That's very different.
That's the first episode. She's outed as a lesbian. Now, confidently she's out as a lesbian. Deborah has experienced deep loss in her personal life and is a direct result of superheroes. She can take care of herself, or at least she says she can. She's the one who calls people on their BS and has no fear of putting her opinions out there. Alright, there you go. That's your...
I'm just going to say it. What the hell is this show?
It is the misfits who have useless powers coming together to try and be heroes. Which is, despite the fact that it's still in freeform, this is infinitely more interesting to me than Cloak and Dagger.
Oh, absolutely.
because this is like, well, the Misfits. I'm down for this kind of thing. All right, let's get on to some news of other things that aren't superheroes. Because we actually have some interesting stuff.
We have other stuff. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we do have some interesting stuff. Some kind of big news dropped this week in various ways. And this first one is not, I wouldn't class it as big, but it's certainly of note. Remember the Alienist that's coming from TNT?
Sure.
First Keller, we got a big cast for it. Yeah. Well, one of the cast members has been swapped out. Sean Astin, who was going to be in it, is Teddy Roosevelt. He's actually already shot scenes. He's been shooting scenes in Budapest, which is where they're shooting, but unfortunately, because he has to keep travelling between there and Atlanta, where he's shooting season 2 of Stranger Things, they eventually had to say, yeah, okay, this isn't working. Which is really weird, because they've already shot some stuff.
And it's a shame, because I quite like him.
I like him too. But he's been replaced by Brian Gerry, so we have him instead.
I don't know who that is.
I'm unfamiliar with him too. But I mean...
It feels like a step down when you tell me like that.
Sure. However, it's already got a pretty impressive cast, and Stranger Things wins.
Oh, aye, obviously.
So,
I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying it seems like a step down when you take out someone that you know and like and just add in... I mean, he might be good, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that. I haven't seen him, but it just feels disappointing.
Yeah. So it's purely a scheduling thing. That's all it is.
It happens, doesn't it?
But there you go. So he's been replaced in the Alienist. So there's that. So right, next up, so we're on to like announcements and either new shows being announced or in development or that kind of thing, or straight up series orders. First up, Fox has ordered a new 10-episode season of the X-Files. Of
course it did. I'm surprised it's taken them this long.
I think it was just scheduling and getting like the start, because David Duchovny, Gillian Anderson, and Chris Carter, who's the creator, they're all back for it. So the last one they did was 6 episodes and had some good episodes in the middle, had some rough episodes at the start and the end. The cliffhanger was atrocious.
I can't actually remember what it was, I'll be honest. I've kind of purged it from my mind.
Oh, it was such a whimper, but it was a really bad cliffhanger. I just assumed they were getting more, and it was like, right, this time, guys, ending. Give it an ending, right?
I feel like, obviously, the last time the problem was the overarching plot just didn't work.
No, at least in this one, though, if it's only the first and last one again, that gives us 8 episodes in the middle of stuff.
Yeah, it was when it was 6, it felt like we were just waiting for it.
Yeah. At least this time we can get like a good 8 episodes, even if the first and last one are shite, like that last revival was. But this is your second revival season. End it. This is your final chance.
This one is being billed as an event season as well, isn't it? An event series.
Yeah, to be fair, the last one was as well, I think.
Yeah, but that's what concerns me. It's an event series, so they think they have to do something big.
We'll see. I don't know. I do hope this though. I hope the young versions of them come back. Remember they had like the doppel.
Oh yeah. No, they were pretty fun.
The doppelgangers, they were funny. No, I like some of the episodes in the middle of that season were really enjoyable. So I'm hoping we get more of those.
There was the standout one, and then a couple of other decent ones.
Yeah. So with a bit of luck, and this is coming apparently in the 2017 to 2018 season.
Okay, so I'd probably expect it mid-season then.
Probably. That's when the last one was, so makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, X-Files is coming back, so if you're a fan of the show, that's good news. Unless you're just traumatized from the cliffhanger from the last one and you're like, I don't know, just let it die. Alright, next up, here's something that was unexpected. I did not see this coming at all. Mar Vista Entertainment and IM Global Television have teamed up to produce King Kong Skull Island.
Is it actually called Skull Island?
It's called King Kong Skull Island.
Oh, okay. See, I just saw a King Kong TV show. I just figured it was...
Honestly, I think it's a working title. I'm sure I've got a feeling they're going to change it. But right now, that's the official title is.
Oh, okay.
A movie just came out called Kong Skull Island. Just call it King Kong. Call it Skull Island. Take your pick. But don't do the same thing with one more word.
Gotta get a really play up on it, but have something that differentiates it for its search results.
God damn it. But yeah, it's the first live-action TV show in the Kong universe. Written by Jonathan Penner and Stacey Title. Which at point, and the only reason why I'm telling you, because obviously you're like, who are those people? I don't know them.
Yeah. Please tell me that there are other works.
I didn't know them either, but I mention it because it says it has after it their notable work, their notable thing.
Go on, scare me.
The Bye Bye Man.
See, I never had the misfortune of having to see this, but his reputation precedes it.
Oh, I saw it. I saw it. I think now's a good time for a link in the corner to the review of The Bye Bye Man that me and Tim did. Oh my god, that was...
So expectations are pretty low then for this.
Yeah. King Kong Skull Island is a serialized contemporary continuation of the classic female-led multicultural ensemble that delves into the wonders and horrors of Skull Island and its origins.
Now, that is a mouthful of words.
It is indeed. Okay, present day, cool. That's different from other stuff, and I guess it's just weird timing. Like the movies are going. I mean, I guess King Kong might be like the book might be public domain now, so maybe that's why this might be an opposing.
Yeah, I guess they just want to ride the hype.
I guess, but here's the other thing though. Like, you kind of need some good visual effects for this.
Yeah, this has to look good.
And I mean, I know we've had some good like sort of Gorilla Grodd stuff in the Flash, but that's for a couple of episodes. Like,
this has to be consistent.
This has to be consistently throwing big monsters at us. At the very least, Kong.
Kong has to look on par with the movie at least, because otherwise people are going to look at this and go, "What's the point?"
Yeah, what is the point? Like, I watch a giant monster movie to see the giant monster, and obviously as time gets on, they keep looking better in movies. Like, I don't know what a serialized Kong story... Now, they may have a great idea that does say, okay, this should be 10 episodes or whatever, and if so, great, I will be happy to be proven wrong, but I am finding it really hard to think of what story could justify 10 episodes of a King Kong show or story.
I have no idea. I just nothing comes to mind, but hey, if they've got the story, let them tell it.
Obviously, it's something we'll check out when it happens. There's no network yet, but...
How can we not?
Obviously, we're going to. Speaking of things we will definitely check out when they happen. Have you ever heard of Wheel of Time?
I know of it. I've never read them.
Yeah, well, you've heard of it. I'd never heard of it, but this was all new to me. It is not a spin-off of Wheel of Fortune, before anyone is under that impression. So yeah, it's Sony Pictures Television are actually moving forward with it. There's no network yet, so I've got a feeling this is going to end up in a cable place, just given how involved it's going to be. The series will be based on the high fantasy novels by Robert Jordan under the pen name of James O. Rigney Jr. There's 14 novels in the series that began with The Eye of the World in 1990 and finished in 2007 with A Memory of Light, which was finished by someone else because the author died. So it was,
that was Brandon Sanderson, I think.
Yeah, so it was sort of finished with his like notes or whatever and completed. But yeah, so yeah,
it's quite an epic saga.
Well, 14 goddamn books. I expect it to be quite an epic thing. They follow the quest to find the Dragon Reborn, who it is said will help unite the forces to combat the Dark One. Now that is the only plot kind of thing I got from the actual... So I went to Wikipedia for the books and thought, let's see if I can get a better thing. Everything there was too long and in depth, and it was full of all these words that I could barely pronounce.
That's high fantasy for you.
So I ended up going to it was like a community fan site for it called Dragon Mount. I got this paragraph from here just to credit them for this. Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time is a story that takes place both in our past and our future. In his fantasy world, the Dark One, the embodiment of pure evil, is breaking free from his prison. The overall plot is about a man who learns that he is the reincarnation of the world's messiah and is once again destined to save the world from the Dark One, but possibly destroy it in the process. This saga is not only his story, but the story of the entire world's struggle to deal with war and change, destruction and hope. Okay. And also, I did read more of the wiki stuff. They've got people with powers called the Channelers who channel the basically their version of the Force in this world. And there's all that. There's like factions and that's try to like gear everyone up to fight the Dark One. And I mean, this is just my glides. Obviously, if you've read the books, you'll have way more of that.
He's clearly butchering it.
I'm not butchering it. I think I'm doing a good summary for anyone who doesn't know what it is.
It's just
Honestly,
it's for the people who do know what it is that are like, what are you doing?
Oh, sure. They're like, wow, this is the greatest in-depth work ever written. What are you doing? The thing is, when I read because even though I didn't put them here because it was like really long, I did read like a couple of the long paragraphs on Wikipedia.
Mm.
And do you know what it was really making me think of more than anything else? It felt like a D&D quest.
Okay.
Like it kept talking about these characters splintering off into groups and they were going off to find people and stuff, and I was like, this feels like a really like intricate D&D quest that's got an end game.
It's not necessarily a bad thing.
And I feel like they're probably going to like go for a little bit of Game of Thrones with it, maybe. But that said, Game of Thrones, as far as I know, doesn't have like a mystical, like ancient force that's coming to kill everyone.
Well, I mean, kind of does.
Well, but is it like this though, where they're all like gathering everyone to fight it, like actually physically?
Sort of. I mean, some of them are like, yeah, we need to, and some of them are like, what do you want about it? It's just a myth. So, kind of.
All right. Well, I hope this is more interesting than Game of Thrones. Then is what I'm saying.
Okay. For me, I'm kind of down. I really enjoy high fantasy. We don't really get a lot of it on TV though. We get, more of the grounded fantasy sort of things that we get, like like Game of Thrones, where it's a little bit less. This seems quite heavy on the almost magic element sort of things with the channel is what they called.
As someone who doesn't like Game of Thrones, I hope to take some of the production value lessons from it, just so it doesn't look like a cheap, goofy.
I think that is important, yeah.
Because I mean, it could. I mean, I'm reading this, like I'm reading this description of all these characters with their goofy names and like all the powers they've got. And I'm like, I could see this being a schlocky mess. But
that sounds right on my street.
But if they give it, the right amount of, budget, art style or whatever, I could see me enjoying this. Admittedly, I can't really think of any like high fantasy concepts that I am in love with. But
yeah, you're typically not that much of a fantasy guy, are you?
No, I'm really not. But then again, like, it's not like there's a lot of TV shows that do this kind of thing.
No, they're not really in TV. Weirdly, like it's. I often say I like my sci-fi on film and I like my high fantasy on books because I typically think they translate better there. I've yet to see high fantasy really translate well to screen.
I think that's because a lot of it is goofy when you actually put it on screen.
It is, yeah.
When you leave it to your imagination, you can let it be vague and impressive, but on screen, you have to decide on what the visual effects are going to look like. You have to decide on what this looks like, and it's rough in that sense. But Rafe Judkins is attached to executive producer. He worked on Shield and Agents of Shield, that is, and he worked on Chuck. So he's got some credence.
It's a reasonable cred. Yeah,
he's never run a show before, but he's learned from some good people. No, I mean, obviously it's something again we'll check out when it hits. I'm not typically like super excited about fantasy, but at the same time, if they can make it an entertaining show, I'll be game for it.
Yeah, I'm definitely down to try it at least. I want to hear more.
And they've got plenty of material.
Yeah, I wonder how they do it. Like, obviously you said it's all about these groups splitting up. Do they follow them all individually? Like, this bit will, cut between them episode to episode. Or do they go, right, this season we're going to focus on this group and watch what they do. And then a season on another group?
I would guess cut between them. That feels like more of an obvious thing to do.
Yeah.
You got 14 books. Obviously, even if it was successful, I don't think they'd want to run 14 seasons. So I can see them condensing it down,
I would assume so.
Some stuff. But at least it's finished, unlike some other book series that have been turned out of shows.
Aye, maybe Game of Thrones, for example.
Even The Expanse, which I love. Like, the books aren't finished yet. I mean,
no, but they've got a bit of leeway still. Game of Thrones is, it's past it now.
That is true. All right, next up, more interesting stuff. Hulu has ordered a pilot for Locke and Key based on the IDW comic book series from the son of Stephen King, Joe Hill.
I always feel really bad for him because he's quite an accomplished writer in his own right, and he's done quite a lot of stuff.
But he's always
everyone always goes the son of Stephen King.
It's like, hey, you think you can get around it by changing your name and not using the name King? Well,
I know, and I feel bad for him. He's clearly tried.
Yeah. tough. We already know.
There's no getting away from it anymore.
This is interesting because this was already turned into a pilot before. Fox made a pilot for this.
Yeah, it didn't air, did it?
No, it was like 5 or 6 years ago, and it was meant to be quite good because they aired it at Comic-Con, or if not Comic-Con, something like that. But they aired it to like a room full of fans, and apparently it went down a treat. But Fox just decided never to go ahead with it.
Classic Fox.
I know. It's a horror fantasy series described as revolving around 3 siblings who, after the gruesome murder of their father, moved to their ancestral home in Maine. Hey, Maine. If he's trying to shed the Stephen King connections, maybe Maine wasn't the place to set this.
Best choice, was it?
Only to find the house has magical keys that give them a vast array of powers and abilities. Little do they know that a devious demon also wants the keys and will stop at nothing to attain them. And Carlton Cuse is producing, which is cool. He was the co-showrunner of Lost, so he's got some cred behind him. Who doesn't have cred behind him, unfortunately, is the man who's going to be directing the pilot. Scott Derrickson is directing the pilot, which is unfortunate.
Oh.
Because I really don't like him as a director. He did Sinister and Doctor Strange. But at least in a TV show, it's not a big...
It's just the pilot.
It's just the pilot, like, yeah.
Depends how much say he has in influencing the style, because often those early directors can set up, this is the style of the show.
Yeah, but how does director number 2 come in and go, alright, so I have to do shit, right, so I look at this episode, this pilot, okay, right, so that shit way he did that, I need to emulate that.
Do you know what concerns me more about it, is that we obviously have problems with this guy, and if he makes this pilot and shows it to Hulu and they go, no, and if it's on him, that we lose this, then that would be annoying. That
would suck. I've not actually read the comic. I've actually had, I think there's 6 volumes. I've got 5 of them, and I've had them sitting there for ages, and I've been wanting to read it.
Yeah,
but
I've got the first one just sat there. Just not got to it yet.
Maybe we'll go out of. Normally for us, we just decide not to read things that shows are based on them and experience them as the show first. But maybe this is one where if we get an air date and it's like enough time, maybe we can make an effort to read. I
mean, I'd be happy to do that with that last series of books, frankly. I'll read all 14 of those things.
I don't know what that would do to the discussion, admittedly. But at the same time, I'm almost tempted to say, you know what, go do it. Read all 14 of them, you prick.
I've got time. I've got plenty of time.
Until they shadow drop it, like, in a month.
Yeah.
We made this already.
I'll be constantly thinking, I've got time. And they'll go, it's coming in 3 weeks. I'll be like, balls.
Yeah. I don't even think, even if you had no more, like, even if we didn't do a video for 3 weeks, even if you had no job, you had nothing that you had to do for 3 weeks, I don't know if you'd have time in those 3 weeks to knock out 14 books.
I think I could do it.
With all those caveats, though.
With those caveats, yeah, sure.
Yes. With all of our regular recording.
If I sit down, I can read, a 500-page book in about 6 hours. If I just sit down and dedicate myself to it.
Oh God, that's like the Flash. To me, that's like the Flash. I can't do that.
Yeah.
But aye, so that's the thing. It was just good because I actually did read the first issue like a long time ago, so just to see if I liked it before I bought it, and I did like the first issue, and then but obviously that's one issue out of 6 hardcovers.
Yeah.
So. But no, I am very intrigued by the premise. I obviously hope this comes to fruition.
Hulu, obviously, we've seen they can throw money and have a budget to actually have some good, especially in terms of production design and value. It can look very good.
So maybe this will be better than if had it been at Fox 6 years ago. So yeah, that could be a good thing. All right, next up, we have a new show coming to TNT called The Deep Mad Dark. It is an hour-long drama. The actual news this week was notable that who's directing the pilot. Much better than Scott Derrickson. Niels Arden Oplev. And you're probably wondering, why is that important? Why is he
am wondering that.
He directed the pilot for Mr. Robot.
Ooh.
He also did the original Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
That's less impressive.
I like that though. It's a good movie.
I haven't seen it. I just mean it doesn't ring true as much for me.
I know. That's why I went Mr. Robot. I put the voice on for that one because I knew that's the one you cared about.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, he's going to direct the first episode, and it is a atmospheric mystery thriller about the complexities of friendship. So here's the description: The Deep Mad Dark opens in Detroit opens as a Detroit neurosurgeon Polly Lewis embarks on an unorthodox study in the field of memory and trauma. Her once closest friend, the irreverent, brilliant Tash Hollander, comes home after living many years in a strange off-the-grid... Do you know what it was? It was that sentence, the irreverent, brilliant Tash Hollander. That threw me. I was thinking about that sentence for the next sentence.
Yeah, carry on.
Anyway, she comes home after living many years in a strange off-the-grid community in Belize. Upon her return, Tash insinuates herself into Polly's life in an audacious ways to threaten everything Polly has achieved. But why?
Sounds vaguely interesting.
Yeah, like, I'm not really sure. It seems like it's going to be like a sort of weird, abusive friendship.
Yeah, but it's got enough there that I'm intrigued.
I think the name more than anything else makes me interested. The Deep Mad Dark.
That's a good name.
That's a good name. I'm down for it. Plus, you get a good director doing the pilot. Yeah, I'm game. And speaking of TNT, the next news story is also about one of their new shows that's coming. Now, this is a working title, so they might change this, but the current title they've got is Deadlier Than the Male. And that's male as in gender, not the post.
Thank you for specifying. I was about to ask.
Yeah, Deadlier Than the Male. Written by Harry Warner, who's written Call the Midwife and Mistresses. I don't know who that is, but just in case those names mean anything to you. Deadlier Than the Male centres on a trio of characters, each with a mysterious and troubling past. A young woman who once looked into the eyes of a dangerous killer, a former serial predator desperate to find his redemption, and a grieving mother obsessed with finding her missing daughter. As each of them is pushed into the edge, the truth about their past and motives grows ever murkier, blurring the lines between victim and perpetrator.
Sounds kind of interesting again.
Yeah. Sounds like a dark thriller, characters.
It's not sold on the title of this one. I hope they do change it.
Yeah, I feel like they might.
It doesn't really tell me what the show is. It doesn't hook you either. It's not very catchy.
Nah. It sounds like they're all intertwined. I wouldn't surprise me if they'll end up being like whatever incidents that they've all like came from are all connected. Like maybe over the course of the season we'd see all right. So the one who was a victim and the one who was the predator, like they were like like that was the same.
That's
incident.
the obvious link, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what I would guess at this point, but I don't know. I feel like it's maybe a revenge story, but maybe that's too obvious. Maybe it's more complex than that.
I don't know, but it's quite vague, really, in terms of what it's given us. But there's enough there to have me interested.
So that's a pilot order. That one. The last one was also a pilot order. So that's 2 TNT pilot orders. Next up, Lifetime is given to a straight-to-series 10-episode order for the Greg Berlanti show that was... We'd heard about this before, that it was in the works, but this is the official order. Yeah. It's called You, as in the word You, not the letter U.
I figured as much on that one.
Just in case. You is described as a 21st century love story that asks, what would you do for love? When a brilliant bookstore manager crosses paths with an aspiring writer, his answer becomes clear. Anything. Using the internet and social media as his tools to gather the most intimate of details to get close to her, a charming and awkward crush quickly becomes an obsession as he quietly and strategically removes every obstacle and person in his way. See, do you know what it is?
That got interesting.
Yeah, see the first part of that description where it says, what would you do for love? I'm like, oh, it's going to be just a love story. But by the end of it, no, he's a full-on stalker. He's... What? Yeah. This is proper Creepville.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's based on a novel by Caroline Kepnes, if that's how you pronounce her name. But that was released in 2014. So
cool.
But no, yeah. So it could be good. Do you know what? Do you know what impressed me? Is that I feel like we've talked about all these new shows and none of them were written off immediately. All of these so far have been, we'll definitely check out the first one.
Do you know what? Something else as well, which is rare for this time of year once we get to all these. None of them are really super generic things. They've all got something about them that makes it go, okay.
It's all the cable networks so far. Wait until we hit network.
Oh, I know. I'm aware of that.
Wait until CBS comes crawling with their new shows, and then we'll see how we feel.
I'm making the most of it, okay?
All right. Next up, Seesaw Films, the production company behind The King's Speech, has started shooting a new show, which for everyone outside of Australia and New Zealand is going to be a Netflix show. This was like a Netflix co-production kind of thing.
Right.
It's called The Legend of Monkey.
Okay, then.
It is a 10-part series inspired by the 16th century Chinese fable that formed the basis of Stephen Chow's Chinese box office blockbuster, Journey to the West, Conquering the Demons. It has recently been a regular staple of the Chinese box office, so it's a big hit in China. This is like a big thing. And then recently as well, they've also had The Monkey King, and then an animated film called Monkey King Heroes Back. So this is like in China, this is like a franchise now. There's like several things.
Yeah, it must be. I've never heard of it myself.
I've never heard of it either, which is why I keep pausing, because I'm just double checking I'm reading the right titles. Because they all sound kind of awkward in English, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's going to be 30-minute episodes, 10 of those. The story follows a teenage girl and a trio of fallen gods as they embark on a perilous journey to end demonic reign and chaos and restore the balance to the world.
Sounds kind of interesting.
And it sounds like it's got a sense of humour to it. It feels... just the titles, it feels like it's not super dark or serious, more of a light-hearted adventure.
Yeah, and obviously with it being a 30-minute show as well, it might play into that.
Yeah. But yeah, they just started shooting.
Oh, cool.
So apparently that's coming into Netflix around the world, except Australia, which is on one of their networks, in 2018. So that's a next year thing.
Maybe it's on Stan.
It's not on Stan. It's on ABC Australia. I just didn't specify because
it's disappointing.
You wouldn't have been able to name other than Stan. You wouldn't have been able to name an Australian network.
No, I wouldn't.
Oh dear. All right. Next up, speaking of Netflix, Netflix have greenlit an animated series called Carmen Sandiego, which I'd never heard of this, but this is a thing.
Yeah, I was the same. I saw it all over Twitter. It's like people going mad. It's like, oh, this is an actual thing.
Well, what did you assume it was based on?
I thought it was some sort of cartoon based on because there was everyone was using the same sort of image.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. The series will be based on the iconic educational computer game franchise.
Yeah, I saw this. I was like, okay then.
That followed Sandiego as she travelled across the world stealing national treasures. It will offer an intimate look into the character's past, where viewers will not only follow her escapades, but also learn and know who in the world is Carmen Sandiego and why she became a super thief. And it's planned for 2019, so it's quite a while away off.
I think there was a cartoon series before. One of the articles I looked at kind of mentioned one.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was a bit of key art that came with this. There was like a new image they did for this series. It looked fun. I'm oddly kind of interested in this, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just like, what is... There's a curiosity, isn't there?
I think there's a few things going here. One thing, the way she's dressed, she's got like a PI hat on kind of thing, and she's got that kind of look about her, and she's a thief, right? So that's just sounds kind of fun, right? But she's also doing this kind of globe-trotting, Indiana Jones-esque, but thieving rather than crypt robbing or whatever.
Well, splitting hairs here, really.
But like, I don't know. For some reason, I'm oddly interested in this animated series, and I don't know why. I never heard of this until now.
Me either. But, I'm right there with you. I'm intrigued.
Also, Carmen Sandiego was a pretty cool name, and again, I don't know why. But anyway, that brings us to the main event. The final news item of the week. Dramatic pause for drink. Freeform has greenlit a 10-episode series, a first season for a show called Siren. And unfortunately, Connor already knows about this news.
I do.
Because I was going to milk this for everything it was worth. But Siren is a new name. This show used to have a different name. It got retitled.
It did, which I'm a little bit disappointed by.
It used to be called The Deep. And if you're a long-time viewer of our weekly news video, you'll know that Connor's been really excited about The Deep. Because we heard about it last year. It was a mermaid war show in this
kind of
small
became
town.
infamous, didn't it?
It became infamous on this show. Nowhere
Yes.
else.
Nowhere else. No one else gave a damn about this.
But on this show, and every week, Connor, would ask me, "Is there any news in the deep? Any news in the deep?" And this week there is. There's just the deep is no more, but Siren lives. Here's your official description. It takes place in Bristol Cove, a coastal town known for its legend of once being home to mermaids. When the arrival of a mysterious girl proves this folklore to be true, the battle between man and sea takes a very vicious turn as these predatory beings return to reclaim their right to the ocean. And this isn't coming until summer 2018.
I still like the description, though. What can I say? They're still playing up a mermaid war.
But despite the fact that it's not coming until summer 2018, as I alluded to earlier, we did get a trailer that came from the upfronts.
It's exciting.
Is it? Did you like the trailer?
I liked parts of it, I'll be honest.
I will say this. I liked how creepy the mermaid girl looked.
Yeah, that was kind of working for me. There's obviously some elements that are very freeform, and I was like, okay.
You mean Blandy McBlandy, white man lead? Him?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he was bland as all hell. But the fact that the mermaids are outright killing people, I'm down for that.
There's the one in the car where it comes out through the windscreen. It's like,
yeah.
Like,
at the end,
down for this as a show.
She swims full mermaid into his stomach,
Yeah. I don't know. I like if it plays up that, and there was some horror-esque moments early on in the trailer.
There was. Here's my problem though. I feel like most of it's going to be Blandy McBlanderson, try to talk to her and him try to figure things out. That's going to be most of the show.
I agree, and I'm aware of that because this is, after all, on Freeform. That is kind of what they do. But what can I say? If they give me enough of that, of the actual mermaid war bit, which kind of looks not bad, that side of it, I'm kind of down for that. What can I say?
I cannot wait to watch this pilot and for it to be the worst possible thing I have ever seen.
I am waiting for that as well. I'm well aware. But
honestly, it may be worth just having the camera on so I can get your reaction. I want to do a time lapse. I want to record your face while you're watching it, and then do a time lapse in about just 10 seconds, and see your facial expression shift over the course of the hour.
Yeah,
I think that would be glorious.
It might. Like I say, I just want to see the mermaids ripping people up.
Hey, I'm down for that. I like horror. I like monsters. I like people getting ripped apart. I'm a big fan of that.
Exactly.
But your little hopes are all up in the air.
I know. It's been too long now. I can't back down now, can I?
The last news this week, which leaves us to pick our favourite episode of TV from the week.
There was it's not really a big thing, trailer for season 3 of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I ignored it.
yeah. I just say that's coming in May, and I'm excited.
Did you watch it?
I did. I thought it was great. She's going off to college.
Great.
It looks like I really like that show. What can I say? I just want to put that out. I'm excited for season 3.
I have somehow seen all the episodes despite not really liking it that much. I don't know what it is, but for some reason it's easy to put on. It's the theme tune. I just like getting to the theme tune.
Such a good theme tune.
The theme tune's great.
It is. It's a very digestible show as well, though. It just goes in really easy.
But yeah, picking our favourite episode of TV from the week.
That's tough. It's a tough week.
You the options here, you have Better Call Saul, you have Fargo's premiere, you have the Expanse finale, you got all these things to pick from.
Yeah, Doctor Who's up there as well. That was a pretty strong return.
I wouldn't put it in the league of those, but yeah, it was good. Oh, look at the pressure on his face.
Oh, all right, what have you got then?
No, you go first, that's the rule.
Well, I'm still thinking. This is no rules.
There's a rule.
Well, screw the rules.
It's an implied rule. It came to fruition through practice.
Screw the rules. I'm debating still.
All right, you're debating. All right, well, I am going with Better Call Saul. As good as Fargo was, as great as Expanse was, and everything else, Shield had a good episode. Better Call Saul was Vince Gilligan, who directed the episode specifically this week, had me in the palm of his hand the entire goddamn time. So and I like to be held in the palm of a hand.
Can't dispute that. It's very close for me between Saul and Expanse.
I get that. I get that it's close. Expanse was fantastic.
It was. Screw it, I'm going to go with Expanse. Saul will get many other chances. It's got a whole season to come yet.
Connor going with the contradictory vote there. But
some may view it as the correct vote. Probably less people, but...
Alright, let's look at what's coming next week, because we do have a couple of things. I mentioned that we had the first episode of Girl Boss. We did that earlier today. That's up, the review that's up. You can check that out. That's a new Netflix show. There's another one next week, though. Dear White People is starting next Friday. It'll probably be a similar thing because it's a half-hour show. We'll do the first one. We probably won't do the whole thing. But then again, it could blow us away and be like, oh, damn, we need to talk about the rest of this because it's so engrossing. But chances are it'll probably be the first one, and we'll have that. We also we're hoping to cover The Handmaid's Tale, which is getting good reviews. That's coming from Hulu. Positive buzz on that. So, kind of looking forward to it. Good. Also worth mentioning, all of the CW DC shows are back. So you got Flash, Supergirl, and Arrow all returning.
Unfortunately.
Arrow, unfortunately, but happy for the other two at least. That's
nice.
Oh,
aye, obviously.
So that's a thing. So yeah, that's next week. That's what's coming next week in terms of new stuff.
It's a busy week.
It is a busy week. Because we have all these new shows that have started in April, and then all the network stuff hasn't finished yet, we've got a good 3 or 4 weeks of really busy stuff.
Yeah, it was kind of okay for the last few weeks, because obviously there's been a lot of new additions, but all the CW stuff's been off, so it hasn't felt like it's adding on a lot. It's kind of just replaced it. But now they're all coming back all of a sudden in force, and it's like, oh, we have a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah. So... the schedule may reflect the hectic nature that happens over the next few weeks. So watch out for that.
Also, I just realised, we haven't done a news video since Star Wars Celebration last week, have we? No, because that was last weekend. So, no, I just want to point out, Star Wars Rebels was renewed for a Season 4, and it is its final season.
No one cares.
It's got 15 episodes, which is slightly less. But
it's fine.
I'm excited.
No one cares.
It's one of the best things I watch.
Don't need to list the shows that we watch. Don't need to list all the things that are obviously better.
Obviously is subjective.
No, it's not. Shut up.
Fun out there.
One of the best things. I watched Mr. Robot and Better Call Saul and Westworld and The Expanse and...
It's up there with all of those.
Piss off. Baloney. Before I get really upset, we're going to wrap up this video. So, thank you very much for watching. Let us know what your favourite episode of the week was. And obviously, let us know what you thought of any of the news this week as well. So, some big stuff on there. X-Files is coming back. King Kong TV show. Locke and Key TV show. All sorts of things. Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of... Was it Time?
I think it was Time, yeah.
Yeah, Wheel of Time is a thing. Lots of big stuff happening. TV is booming. As they say. So, no, good. I will actually, one minor update. Not really news per se, because it was just kind of buried in an article, but it looks like Pitch might not get renewed. It's seeming less likely that that's coming back, so I figured I'd point that out. So that's a shame, because that was good. It's a good first season. But
it is, but it's not that surprising either.
No, it wasn't like a huge success, so it's a shame. Especially since the first season ended on kind of a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Bastards. So there you go. That's this week's news and stuff. Thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe, all that stuff helps out a lot. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. Individual Twitters are on the screen for everyday rambles. That's us, guys. Thanks for watching. Have you got any vanilla?